Diane, the time is 6:53, July 12th, 2000. Not that you need to know the exact time down to the minute, but Dale likes to put these things in. This is Paige speaking, by the way. Allow me to start this off by making one thing absolutely clear. I have no desire to speak to you. 1, because I don't think you're listening, and 2, because even if you were, I don't think you'd be worth my time. But Dale thinks I owe you an explanation as to who I am in case you are listening, and I can't sleep anyway. So I guess I might as well do what Dale wants me to do in the interest of group cohesion. And because I was your friend too. I guess, even though you didn't really know me. Anyway, I'm the one who first warned Dale about you. I had multiple reasons to be concerned. First of all, the fact that Dale liked you so much right away made me instantly suspicious. Love like that makes people vulnerable, and I was supposed to protect him. I don't know exactly what it was about you that I didn't trust. Of course, as Dale is pointing out right now, I don't really trust anybody. In your case, obviously I was right. I think what I initially told Dale was that you were too pretty. I always told him not to trust pretties. But the thing is, that wasn't exactly it, because you're not pretty. Not in that way I usually watch out for. Of course, if you were pretty, that would have been too obvious. I could have easily convinced Dale to stay away from you with a good bit of concrete evidence. But even though I sensed the danger, I couldn't explain it to Dale, let alone myself, so I kept my mouth shut. And then, of course, over the years, I figured I had just been wrong. Yes, I can be wrong sometimes, I admit it. After all, you proved to us plenty of times that you really did care about us. Inviting Dale to concerts and to California, and that summer when he forgot to tell you he was leaving early and he made you cry. We had plenty of evidence that you definitely could be trusted. And with each passing year, I assumed that the connection was only getting stronger. After all, who the fuck leaves their best friend after 8 years? I was doing my job perfectly. I was protecting Dale. You're the one who acted how people don't act. I don't remember if you ever explicitly promised Dale you would be his best friend, or at least one of his friends forever, but you definitely implied it for years, through your actions. So what's the big lesson here, now that you're gone? What am I supposed to take away from any of this? Should I have made you explicitly say you'd always be Dale's best friend, and then have you say it again like in that Ockerville River song? Have you renew your license at regular intervals to make sure that you didn't forget? What am I supposed to do now? Have everyone who wants to be Dale's friend signed a legally binding contract? Or a contract in blood, promising never to leave? Because if I thought that would work, I would not hesitate. Well, if nothing else, at least that would scare them off, and I would have less work to do. Maybe there is no moral. Maybe it's all just loss. Or maybe the moral is what it seems to be every time. Especially not anyone with blonde hair. I'm starting to think it's true what they say about you all not having souls. Well, whatever the moral is, I can tell you one thing. I don't buy the whole doppelganger theory. Not for a second. Doppelgangers do not exist. Even if there's a side of you that behaves differently, ultimately, you're still the one in control. You could go back to Dale at any time if you wanted, but you don't want to because you're a narcissistic bitch who hides behind a facade of anxiety and helplessness to avoid any responsibility for your actions. So you may tell yourself that Dale is the one that's crazy, and maybe you're right. And maybe I'm crazy too, because here we are, grown adults who are still talking to our imaginary friend. But you're the one that made us this way. You and all the other little versions of you. People who are afraid of the big other. No, not the government. Not the Jews or Sky Daddy's wrath or anything like that. You're afraid of what's on the inside. Of your own shadow. And you're afraid of what Dale found in Oberkalp. Yes, I'd like to be able to manifest change with my mind too. Wouldn't we all? It would be so easy if you could just heal yourself by meditating a lot and going on a gluten-free diet. This may not be the story you want, Diane, but this is the story you get. A story that takes place in the real world, where the dice gods don't even know the numbers they're about to roll. The real world, where people are born into varying degrees of beauty and health and socioeconomic status without any degree of fairness. The real world, Diane, where we're all caught up in one long chemical, yes, chemical chain reaction, just like Gordon always yelled at us back in Merriweather High. And finally, it's a world where doppelgangers do not exist, no matter how many dreams Dale has that says they do. So I hope you're having fun living your new life, whatever your new version of fun is. Go ahead and marry what's-his-name, 2.5 children and a dog named after your favorite dessert, and hope that when they die as a result of inevitable climate change, it will be long after you've comfortably passed away, of old age in a nursing home. But if you ever realize that you fucked up, and finally return to Dale, and even if you get down on your knees and beg for forgiveness, even if you sign my contract, well, I don't know what Dale will do. I'm not him. But I want you to know that it might just be too late. His trust might seem infinite, but I know him better than you, and every human has their limits. But of course, the point is mute, because you'll never apologize, because you don't feel empathy. Not for the likes of us, anyway. Edit. I want to add that I know you would probably resent my placing us in these black and white us and them categories, assuming that just because you're not one of us anymore, you're vapid, shallow, and basically all the qualities you used to complain about when you would rant about your sister to me. But the problem isn't the black and white, it's the gray. And that's where you are, Dianne. And for the record, you have no idea how lucky you are, because Dale is the one that gets the final say in what we do. But if it were up to me, things would be different. I know what you're thinking, and no, I wouldn't fight you. Of course I'd win, but that's not the point. I'm not the tweaked out psycho I think you're afraid of. No, I'm more dangerous than that, because I'm careful. And I pity you now. Your life is going to be a lot harder now that you don't have me on your side. And lucky for you, that's really the only negative repercussion you're going to face from all this. But if it were up to me, I would contact all your new friends and tell them exactly where you stand. Not that any of them would believe me, but maybe just knowing you had one crazy friend would be enough of a reason for them to just not want to get involved. But Dale isn't going to do that, because he has this preoccupation with being a good person, so as usual, another one of you gets off scot-free, to hurt more people who don't know any better. And Dale and I will just keep on doing whatever the DIA tells us to do, and hope that history will rhyme this time, in a way that doesn't hurt so bad. T.E. has told me that he thinks everybody is just cursed to have the same shitty thing happen to them over and over. I don't want that to be true, but there is a lot of evidence for it. Of course, I don't know how having this information is actually supposed to change anything, but there you have it. So maybe that's just Dale's curse. Being abandoned. As far as curses go, I guess it could be worse. Dale knows how to count his blessings, and that's a good thing. But it really does suck for me, because I'm the one who has to step in and be mean when he won't. You think I'm doing this because I want to? Because it gets me off? I'd rather be quiet, like I usually am. The only reason I'm the one saying these things and not him is because it hurts him so bad he literally can't do it. And again, that's not his fault, that's yours. Actually, if you want to know my feelings about you, here's a clip that sums it up pretty well.
You act like prey, but you're a predator. You use pity to lure in your victims. It's how you survive. I survive because I know everything. That snake survives because children wander off, and you survive because people think, oh, this poor piece of shit, he never gets a break. I can't stand the deafening silent wails of his wilting soul. I guess I'll hire him or marry him.
Edit. Originally, I had a clip comparing you to Jerry from Rick and Morty, mainly because I wanted to drive home my complete disrespect for the person you've become. But I took it down, not to spare your feelings, but for accuracy's sake, because I think you're more of a Beth. I could talk about the reasons, but I think they're obvious enough. Rather fittingly, Nikita has a theory that Beth is actually a clone. Okay, Dale, I did my job. If this message doesn't get through to her, then nothing will. And nothing will, because this won't. But now at least you can't tell me I didn't try. Not yours, but truly, Paige.